Okay, I want to cover off on the importance of reducing your debt as quickly as possible and give you an example of a real life couple here in Perth. They are a doctor and a fireman and 3 kids and very busy with their everyday life. So in this example we show you how quickly we can turn their lives around by structuring their finances, reducing their debt as quickly as possible, and it wasn't with any strict budget or anything like that as well. And the good thing now, of course, is that now we can start looking at a timeline for when they can start building their wealth and investing in other property as well. So let me paint the picture here for you, and you'll start to see how we're able to turn this around for them. So they came to us and they had a loan of $364,000. They were paying a rate of 4.64 it was, and they were paying about $2,050 per month in their repayments. So it's going to take them about 25 years. So I've got a bit of an illustration here, but first I want to touch on the $2,050, and if we can imagine that as a brick. Now I'll ask you, what length would you go to pick up that brick? How much time would you spend? If you spent 2 hours of your time, would that be worth a brick that's worth just over $2,000? So visually, if we can show you that over 25 years, if each of those bricks is worth just over $2,000, for this couple here in Perth, they had 300 of those bricks in front of them, like a wall in front of their own house. Until each of those bricks have been smashed and gotten rid of, the house isn't truly theirs. Okay, so let's put this in a bit of a visual concept. So we've got a brick that's worth just over $2,000, and we've got 300 of them for this couple. So 12 for each year, which is obviously 1 a month. We first looked at finding a better home loan, and we got one at about 3.73%, which that reduced, and that smashed about 39 bricks straight away for them. The next thing we did is we implemented their repayments to be fortnightly, and that was fairly straightforward and fairly easy, and that got rid of another 22 bricks. Now, the other thing is, when I went through their budget, I found some surplus. In fact, I wouldn't even call it surplus. They were wasting money on an insurance that they would never have got paid. So by looking through your budget and finding a little bit of surplus, they were able to find very easily $100 per week. So we put that $100 per week to their fortnightly repayments, and that smashed another 50 bricks off their loan term. So you see, you can start getting some progress here straight away. We haven't quite seen the top of the house yet in this example, but you start to see what we mean by how many bricks we're able to get rid of, just with some time and effort and some restructuring. Now the last thing we did is we looked at an offset account. Now I don't recommend offset accounts for everyone, but for this couple we have, and we thought that probably on any given moment there's probably going to be about $10,000 in that offset account throughout the term of the loan. So that only works out to be another 6 bricks, but still 6 bricks at $2,000, most people will take that any day. So overall it was 117 bricks that we were able to get rid of for about an hour and a half of their time. Now can you start to see the importance of spending some time, taking a step back for a moment and really addressing the debt side of things, because the sooner that debt is paid off, the sooner the house is yours, the sooner you have freedom to be able to travel more, spend more time with your children. Maybe you might want to turn that hobby into your business, or resign from your own job and be more self-sufficient financially. Whatever your goals are, they start becoming a lot closer to reality by just focusing on reducing that debt as quickly as possible. So I hope that's given you a bit of an example of this couple here in Perth that we're able to help, and maybe some of these principles could be relevant to yourself as well, and maybe we could implement similar principles in your finances and your banking structures as well. Hello, the next thing I want to talk about is loan structures. And there's lots of different types of loan structures that we can do for a client. And it depends on your current circumstances, and of course what your future plans are as well. But there's another thing that goes along with that we like to use, and it's based more around the psychology of how we think as humans, I guess. And it's just trying to give us smaller goals, bite-sized pieces. It sort of motivates clients a lot more. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. If we look at your actual home at the moment, let's say you've got a loan against that home. If we know that you're wanting to build your investment portfolio at a later date, as an example, or a share portfolio at a later date, we'll do a bit of a discussion around what you think that value might be at a future time. So let's say you plan at some stage in the future to purchase an investment property, and let's say a value of $500,000. Now obviously things can change and circumstances can change, so we allow for that, that's fine. But what we want to do is on your existing home at the moment, when we refinance or take up a new loan, we'll look at splitting those loans, and I'll call them here Loan 1 and Loan 2. Now, the Loan 1 will take the majority of the debt against your home. Loan 1 will be a smaller amount, an achievable amount, and what I tend to aim for is around 20% of your future investment. So in this example, if you're planning to perhaps buy an investment property worth $500,000, then obviously 20% is $100,000. Now, the reason why I like to do that is because then you know that that's your main aim. We have your offset account if you've got one, any tax returns, any extra funds that you have, we put into that Loan 2 and we get that down as quickly as possible. The moment you get that down to zero, then that's your trigger point. That's when you know, okay, this is our deposit, we can redraw up on that, that'll go towards the investment property. And then you can borrow the balance, obviously, against that property itself. So that starts telling you when is the right time to start purchasing the next property, and also manages the debt levels better as well. Now, the thing I love about this concept is we're not relying on the property markets to increase. If they increase, great, it's an added bonus, fantastic. We can readjust the sales accordingly. But this is not reliant on that. So that I find allows for clients to say, okay, that's our focus, let's get that down. For some people it'll take 5 years, some people will take maybe 2 years, some people might take longer, but at least you know what that focus is. So we like to always think a few steps ahead when we structure your loans, and as you can see, there's a good reason for that. So I hope that makes a bit of sense around how we approach loan structures and how that can benefit you over the long term. Okay, the next topic I want to cover off on is banking structure. And this is how we like to approach banking structure. It will vary from client to client, of course, but again, I just try and look at what's going to work with you and what works with certain clients and their how they pay for things. Some people are very analytical and pay for things and know exactly on a day-to-day basis where their budget are at. The majority don't. So let me go through the concept here, and I'll touch on something that I think works for the majority. So if we have your pay, we have that going into an account, and for some people we'll set up an offset account for that. In another video I'll touch on about offset accounts and how they don't work for everyone, but for some clients we'll have that as an offset account. That will be offset against Loan 2 if we have it as a split loan, or against your main loan, whatever the circumstances might be. That we have automated, so the repayments will go across to both those loans each fortnight. Now, it's important to have a separate account for your everyday sorts of things, like if you're going to go out, maybe even your groceries, those sorts of things that you know that you're going to spend on a sort of week-by-week basis. And that we call them living expenses. So what I find works quite well is by having a separate account for your living expenses, and every week an automatic amount goes into that living expenses. And it might be $300, it might be $500, it might be $800 depending on your circumstances, but that account is what you have a card attached to, and that's it. You ignore the rest of it, the rest just is automated. You're not watching it or anything like that. Then what's good about this and having it as a separate account and a separate card is that as the balance gets closer to zero, you start slowing down with your expenses. And again, this comes into the psychology of things around how we operate, and it works quite well in that it gives you limitations. if you have your card directly attached to your offset account, and I've seen this happen over and over again with clients, there's no limit, there's no filters there. So they keep just spending, there's nothing really indicating to them, oh, you should slow down here. So that's why I prefer to keep it separate. That's your living expenses. That's what your card is attached to for your everyday sorts of things. All your bills come out of this account, and of course your loan payments as well. So that sort of concept I find works for the majority of clients, and that's what we're trying to look at. And that's going to give you the best possible chance to pay off the debt quicker, be in control of your finances, and still live your day-to-day life without living on a strict budget or anything like that as well. So I hope that's been beneficial to you as well. Okay, offset accounts. Now, as I've mentioned before, offset accounts work for some but not for everyone. And mathematically they work really well because they allow funds to sit in an account ready to pay your bills or if you live off, and they offset against your debt. So mathematically they work quite well. But let me explain something where sometimes they don't work for everyone, and hopefully this illustration will sort of highlight that. Let's say you've been working away, chipping away, and you're $20,000 ahead with your repayment. So you've got some equity in your loan of $20,000. Now, in your everyday life, let's say you've got $4,000 in your bank account and a holiday comes up on your radar. So this holiday might be overseas or whatever it might be, but let's say it's going to cost around $15,000 for yourself and the family to go on. If you've got $4,000 in your bank account and the debt is separate, this is what you see. The holiday is worth $15,000, you've got $4,000 in your bank account. Your decision making at that point in time is probably to either put off the holiday, wait till you've saved a bit more, or look for a slightly cheaper alternative in the holiday. Because that's basically what you see in your financial circumstances. But let me swap this around a little bit, and let's say we had all your money sitting in the offset account. So instead of $4,000 now sitting in the offset account, we've got $24,000. Okay, so it's still offsetting the debt. This is now what you see. The same holiday comes up on your radar. You've got $24,000 in your bank account, even though $20,000 of that has been from hard work, tax returns, extra repayments to reduce your debt. And your decision now is, do we pay for this holiday? Now, for the majority of people, unfortunately, if their main focus was to even, reduce their debt, they'll still go ahead with that holiday, and they'll justify that. And I get that. I understand that why. I understand why. But as I said, if your main focus is to reduce that debt first, then treat yourselves to holidays, then it can be dangerous having those extra repayments sitting in the offset account. So it's better to restructure yourself and your finances that way, because otherwise it's going to be too much of a temptation to touch on. So as I said at the start, mathematically offset accounts work really well, but I tend to weigh that up against how far and how quickly are we going to get ahead to being able to pay off this debt, and also to be able to build your wealth in the future as well. So we just look at that on an individual case-by-case scenario for each of our clients. So I hope this video has helped give you some information around how you can save on your existing loan, how you can get that debt down as quickly as possible, to give that financial security, to get you in a position where you have more choices in life. One of the unsaid or untold things around all of this, of course, is that your relationship becomes a lot more at ease because you're not stressed about money as much. So that's something that we're really passionate about, is helping clients pay down these loans as quickly as possible. We feel that if you're paying down your loans as quickly as possible and you're getting on top of those loans, that you're then going to refer your friends and family to us. That's great for our business, and of course you get to a position sooner of being able to then buy your next investment property and so on and so forth as well. So that's our motivation there, just to let you know around that of course as well. Now, if you'd like to take up our offer, which is a 20-minute consultation over the phone, there's no obligation with this. There's no charge, of course, and we won't hassle you or any hard sell or anything like that as well. We just want to touch base with you, have a chat to you about your current situation, and give you a bit of guidance around what some possible angles or what some possible steps you could do and take to really turn your finances around, to start looking at how you could better structure your loans and how to get yourself out of debt a lot quicker. So I'm going to limit this to a certain amount of people, obviously, per month here in Perth, but I hope you take up this offer. So feel free to click on the link, and I look forward to speaking to you real soon.